Hey guys, this is Blue Forest. So today we're going to do a beginner strategy guide where we're going to cover pretty much every area of the game. I did do a beginner strategy guide last year, but that really pertained to the old version of the game. And although there are some similarities between the old and new versions, there are also quite a few differences that I'll want to talk about. And so I thought it would be a good idea to make a new strategy guide for the Netflix version of the game. And so this will be helpful to newer players, people coming back to the game after a long time, or even just players who want to improve and increase their knowledge of the game. Now there is a lot to cover here, so I'm going to do this video in two parts. We'll do part one today. We're going to talk a lot about resources, calendars, crystals, the store, navigating the game. And then in part two, which I'll do in the next week or so, we'll talk more about game modes, AMs, making the most out of gameplay, improving as a player, etc. Okay? So let's go ahead and dive in, and we're going to start by talking about gold and Energon, the two most important in-game currencies that we have, because as I'm sure you know, we no longer have ads, there are no longer any in-app purchases of any kind, you can't spend money. And so gold and Energon in particular are what you're going to use to buy all kinds of things in the store that are very important. Okay? So when it comes to gold, gold is accumulated a bit differently than it used to be, right? So gold you can get from doing missions of all kinds, right? So, certainly the story missions, you're going to be getting gold as you go through the story. And gold is incredibly important. You're always going to need it all the time. Even if you don't need gold today, you're going to need it tomorrow or the next day for, rank ups in particular. That's the primary use of gold, okay? So you get gold through the story missions. You get gold through the special missions, particularly through Fog of War, which is a very worthwhile mission to run. Once you reach the point where you have 4-star bots, you'd want to do the T3 lane, which gives T4 class sparks, etc., etc. And then once you have 5-star bots, you run the Tier 4 lane, which gives T5 resources. The story and Fog of War do give a fair amount of gold. You're also getting gold from the calendars, particularly from the Alliance calendar and the 7-day calendar. You're getting gold crystals up to 20 a day, depending on where you're at, for both the 7-day and the Alliance calendar. And you definitely want to save them up because it does take time. This is actually one real difference between the new and old version of the game. There was actually a little bit more access to gold in the old version. If you save up your gold crystals, though, over time, you will amass a significant amount of gold. You also generate gold, of course, through your base, right? Having bots on your base, you can have up to 7 of them. And 4 and 5-star bots give more gold than 3-star bots or 2-star bots, right? So as soon as you can, get those bots on your base, right? I have talked about this before. Your base really is a gold generating mechanism more than anything else, right? And you can get gold every 6 to 8 hours, and you're going to want to do that over and over again because, like I said, you're going to want as much gold as possible. Because especially once you get to ranking up 4-star bots and especially 5-star bots, you need a ton of gold for rank ups, like millions of gold, okay? So the point is generate as much gold as you possibly can. You do also get gold for a few other things. You get some gold for bot dupes and, a few other things. But primarily it's through running missions, like story missions, Fog of War, gold crystals, of course, away missions as well. I don't have any in my queue right now, but you can get them through away missions. Any way that you can get gold, you get 3,500 a day for helping out your alliance. Just amass as much gold as you can because it's very, very important, okay? When it comes to Energon, which is the most important currency in the game, all right? And that's all the more important now because of the fact that you can't buy anything anymore for money, okay? Now, I did do a community post on this detailing about how much Energon you can get per month. The good news about Energon is that you do get more Energon now in the new version of the game, generally speaking, as compared to the old version of the game. However, it is not way more, and it's pretty fixed, which means there's no shortcuts towards Energon, because again, you can't buy it. There are a few ways that you used to be able to get Energon in the old version of the game that you cannot now. So one is from the raid store, right? You used to be able to get a few hundred every month. And then more importantly, arena crystals, which are mostly gone now. In the old version of the game, arenas used to give out lots of arena crystals. Now we only get a few a month. But the good news is you can still generate between 4,000 and 4,500 Energon per month just by grinding. It's all about grinding in the new version of the game for everything. If you play every day, you will amass at least 4,000 Energon per month, and believe me, you're going to need it, okay? So, first of all, you're getting 60 Energon a day just from the calendars, either from the Alliance calendar or the 7-day calendar. You're also getting 12 Energon per day by leveling up a bot, and it can be, 2-star bot, 3-star bot, doesn't matter. Just level up a bot a little bit, you'll get 12 a day. So that's 72 a day every day. That's about 500 a week just from those two things. The other important source of Energon, of course, is through AE, through Alliance events. So you definitely want to get yourself into an Alliance if you're not in one already. So with Alliance events, you're getting 330 Energon per week just from the milestones, and then you're getting between roughly 40 and 80 per week from rank, depending on where your team ranks. So you can get about 400 a week from Alliance events. You can get Energon from away missions, but it's random, it's unpredictable. You don't get a lot of it. You'll generally get 20 to 30 per mission, but when it comes up, it's a good thing to do to get extra Energon. You also get Energon from the monthly calendar. You're getting 100 a week generally, and then I think in the last week you get 120, that's right. So you get several hundred per month from the monthly calendar, and you get some from the monthly achievements. Now, monthly achievements change once you get up to, say, 5-star bots like I have now, but regardless, there are some achievements that will give some Energon. So those are the main sources for them. Unfortunately, as I've talked about in a previous video, arenas have been nerfed, and there are only 4 arenas now that are running on a 1-week schedule. We have no word on whether we're going to get more of them, and unfortunately, the resource bounty, which was giving quite a bit of Energon, was nerfed. So at this point, you're getting very small amounts of Energon from arenas, right? And that means that since the new version was released in May, you're actually getting less Energon now than you could have gotten when the game first came out, because they did reduce the rewards for some of the arenas, which is a shame, but it is what it is. And so the point is, if you simply play every day, you're going to be able to amass thousands of Energon per month, and you want to be careful about how you spend it, okay? When it comes to Energon, there are good ways to spend it, and there are more foolish ways to spend it. The 2 most important ways you're going to want to save Energon are for rank ups and for masteries, okay? Now, when it comes to ranking up bots, I'll talk more about this in detail with part 2 of the video, but I just wanted to say that you really need to save Energon to buy sparks, right, which are in the upgrade store. And over time, as you get 4-star bots and then 5-star bots, you can buy all the sparks you need to rank up your bots. However, some of them are quite expensive, right? And you can amass sparks from things like the story missions. You can accumulate them through Fog of War. You can get some from achievements and so forth, and you'll want to do that. But there is no doubt that you're going to need to buy sparks sometimes. So you definitely want to save Energon to rank up bots. You do not want to get your hands on bots that you really want, only to find that you don't have the Energon to buy the sparks that you need. Masteries, also very important. I've done in-depth videos on masteries before. You can check those out. But the bottom line is that a lot of masteries require either the tier 1 or the tier 2 cores, which you can also which you can also buy, right? So the tier 1 cores are 75 each. The tier 2 cores are 350 each. They're quite expensive. So to unlock certain masteries like Starseeker, Deep Wounds, Unfazed, etc., those are thousands of Energon as well. So as you amass Energon, I would encourage you to be thinking about saving as much of it as possible on sparks for your rank ups and on masteries. You don't want to delay on masteries too long either, because the more difficult the content becomes for you, the more important masteries will be, okay? So those are the two primary ways that you want to spend Energon, okay? There are other ways to spend it, and we'll talk about that, but you really want to conserve your Energon because it's just such an important resource, and like I said, there is a limited amount of it that you can amass even if you play every day, okay? So there's no tricks to get yourself, a ton of extra Energon. It's just not possible anymore, okay? So those are the basics when it comes to gold and Energon. I also want to talk a little bit about relics. So I did do a video on grinding for relics because one thing that has changed significantly from the old version of the game to the new is the raid store, right? So the raid store used to operate on a schedule where certain items in the store would change every day. Some of the items were useful, some of the items were not. Now, however, the raid store, everything inside of it is exactly the same every day. And there's been no indication that they're going to change that. And so at this point, the only things you can buy from the raid store are relics and sparks, right? You can buy mod sparks to rank up your mods, and you can buy relics. So as I've talked about, the 4 primary relics that are the most expensive ones are 250,000 raid ships, which does require some raid grinding. The Star Saber, the Allspark, the Golden Disc, and the Cloaking Field. I would recommend that most people begin with them. You're going to want relics in this game. They make things easier. They make your bot stronger. They increase your health, your attack, which you're going to want, especially when you're doing more difficult content. And some of them, like the Star Saber and the Cloaking Field, will increase things like gold generation, which of course I was just talking about. You can also get increased XP, which we'll discuss. You can get increased raid ships, things like that. I would start with those 4 primary relics. You have to do some grinding to get them, but believe me, it's worth it. When it comes to the other relics, the ones based on characters, you can get those later at your own discretion. They are cheaper, but generally speaking, they're not as helpful as the 4 primary relics. But you will also want to raid primarily to get yourself relics, and also, of course, to increase the strength of your mods. But like I said, start with the 4 primary ones, then you can get into some of these other relics. The Gold Gavel Relic is good for AMs, the Gold Jazz Relic is the same, So that's the strategy that I would take with relics, but what I would recommend though is you do not want to ignore them, okay? Because relics will make things easier for you. They give your bots really nice boosts, as well as increasing things like gold generation. Relics are very, very important. So when it comes to ore, right? So we should talk about ore, the other primary resource that you need to rank up your bots. And again, especially with 4 and 5 star bots, you're going to need lots of ore. Now the good thing about the new version of the game is that you can actually amass quite a bit of ore. It's not that hard. So you do get ore from away missions, all right? And with away missions, you get 4 missions every 2 hours. So whenever you're playing, you can run through away missions. You get plenty of ore from the story as well, okay? And, certain chapters, certain missions do give more ore than others. You can find out, what those are as you progress, and you can even rerun through certain missions if you're running low on ore, but you will get a fair amount of it from the story, especially once you get into Acts 2, Acts 3, etc. You also get ore from opening bot and mod crystals, and you can get a fair amount of it that way as well. And you get a very generous amount of ore from Fog of War, especially the two harder lanes with that have the T4 and T5 resources. So if you grind Fog every now and then, you can get a lot of ore from that. And ore is just like gold in the sense that you might not need it today, but you're gonna need it soon. I would amass as much of you as you can. However, the thing about ore is that you can only hold it for about 2 weeks. You can hold it for 13 days, and then you either have to use it or sell it. Now, you can sell ore. So as you can see, I have a ton of massive ore pieces that I'm saving to rank up some bots. But, if I were to go ahead and sell this, I would get 9,000 in gold, which for me would amount to more than that because I have the gold generating relics like the Star Saber and the Cloaking Field on my base. But regardless, you can only hold ore about 2 weeks at a time, so you do need to be a little bit more active in managing your ore, because unlike gold or Energon, which does not expire, ore does, and sparks do as well. We'll talk about that. But the point is that regardless, you want to amass as much ore as you can. Now, there are two different kinds of ore, right? You have basic ore, the gray ore, and then you also have class ore, which is specific to each class, right? So if I pull up my warrior ore here, right, it's all color coded according to the color of the class. And you want to use class ore as much as you can when you're ranking up the corresponding bot, because you get a 20% bonus on leveling up, which means you need less class ore to rank up a bot than basic ore. So whenever you have class ore for a bot that you want to rank up, use as much of it as you can, because you'll save on resources, you'll save on gold, etc., etc. Okay? So ore is super important. Like I said, you have to manage it more actively than gold and Energon because it expires, but you can certainly generate tons and tons of ore in the game if you are simply grinding normally. Okay? So when it comes to sparks, now sparks also super important for your rank ups. And there are definitely some differences between the new and old versions of the game. And some of them are good, some of them are not. The thing about sparks, which, like I said, you can get from the upgrade store, is that we are getting fewer sparks, particularly lower tier sparks, than we used to in the new version compared to the old. That's probably simply because of the fact that you can buy them all now. And it's true that lower tier sparks are cheaper than higher tier sparks, but you want to be careful about blowing lots of Energon on lower tier sparks. Okay? You do get some sparks for things like Act 1, like lower tier sparks. You can amass sparks in the Spark Arena, which will begin tomorrow. That runs 1 week per month. You can get sparks from achievements, calendars, etc. But tier 2, tier 3 sparks, etc. that you use for 2 and 3 star bots, kind of hard to come by now, which is a bit annoying, because you're going to want them. Even once you're ranking up 4 and 5 star bots, you're going to want the tier 2, tier 3 sparks to rank up and forge your lower tier bots into your higher tier bots, which you're going to want to do. Okay? So the fact is that there are fewer means to grind for sparks than there used to be, at least for most of them. But like I said, the good news is you can buy literally any spark you want once you've unlocked all of the sparks you need, right? So once you have 4 star bots, you get the sparks you need for 4 star bots. Once you unlock 5 star bots, you get the tier 5 sparks, right? So the most expensive spark in the game is the T5 Alpha spark, 600 each, right? And then they kind of decrease in price. The tier 4 Alpha is 300, the T3 Alpha is 75, etc., etc., okay? So with sparks, you have to accept the fact that you're going to need to buy them sometimes. And like I said, for ranking up 4 and 5 star bots, accumulate as many of them as you can, but you're not going to be able to just grind for all of them all the time. You're going to have to buy them, which is one of the reasons why I stressed so much that you need to save Energon for sparks, because sometimes you're just going to have to buy them, okay? When it comes to sparks, we are getting good rewards in terms of sparks from the story. And as you make your way through the story, the rewards get better, right? First, you're getting tier 2 sparks, tier 3 sparks, then you're getting tier 4 sparks. By the time we're in Act 3 now, now we're starting to get things like T5 sparks, right? The thing with the story, though, that you have to remember is that all sparks awarded are a one-time deal, right? You go through the story, you get the sparks once, that's it. You can't get them again. So that's a very important thing to remember, okay? You can generate tier 4, tier 5 sparks from Fog of War, but it's very slow going. You have to go through it many, many times. So doing something like Fog is the kind of thing, maybe you want to do it once a day, just to kind of very gradually accumulate those sparks, and then over time you will form new sparks. Like I said, you do get some sparks from achievements, from calendar and so forth, but it's not a lot. You also get some sparks or partial sparks from the Sunday daily mission, and of course the regular daily mission. Like today we have the tech daily mission. You can get some essence for running that. So like for example, you can get some essence, some tier 4 essence if you run through the medium mission. You can get some T5 essence if you run through the hardest lane for the corresponding class. Unfortunately, the spark trials that runs every day is pretty bad because you're just not getting hardly any shards at all. So it's like really hard to form, say, T2B or T3B sparks. But if you're really close in the spark, you could run through that. The point is that there's just not that many ways to grind for a lot of the sparks that you're going to need. And so you're going to have to spend Energon on your sparks. And that's why I really hammer the point home that you've got to save Energon for sparks, because you're going to need to buy them, right? And so moving on from that, I do want to talk about XP and boosts, right? So XP is what you generate and over time leads to higher commander levels, right? So in this game, you max out at level 60. I'm currently at level 48. The more you grind, the more XP you get. And it is very relevant until you reach level 60. Once you reach level 60, XP doesn't matter anymore. But it does take quite a bit of time to get to level 60, okay? So in terms of XP, you're getting it from all of the regular missions, right? You're getting it from the story missions, from special missions, from Fog of War, etc., etc. Okay? The XP increases as you work your way through the story, and XP is the kind of thing you can grind for, which means that you can repeat lanes in the story or repeat Fog of War, whatever it is, and you will get more and more XP over time. You also get increased XP generation with the cloaking field, which is a good thing. You get 10% additional XP. So once you pick up the cloaking field, that will help. Okay. And I also want to talk about boosts, because boosts will help you out in many ways, but you can also get a big boost in XP by buying these. And the nice thing is that the XP boosts are now very cheap. So you can get a 30-minute XP boost for only 6 Energon and a 2-hour XP boost for 15 Energon. So that means if you're playing for like a little bit, you're going to do a few lanes in a story or something, you pick up a 30-minute XP boost and you're going to generate a lot more XP while you're playing. If you're going to be grinding for a couple hours, get the 2-hour one, same thing. And that will help you, by the way, make a lot of progress on your commander levels, especially early on. If you're at level 20, level 30, whatever it is, you pop some XP boosts. That will really help to accelerate your progress, which you will want. Because every time you reach a new commander level, you get some rewards, you get, a bit of Energon, you get SIGs, you get sparks, etc., etc. But more importantly, it increases the inventory that you have in terms of... So it increases the inventory that you have for your stash, right? So right now I have, 64 ore pieces in my stash, right? And then everything else goes to, okay, I guess this is called the stash, but whatever, right? Everything else goes to the secondary stash, and this is the ore that will expire, right? So it increases the amount of ore that you can hold before it goes to your stash, first of all. It also increases your mission energy, okay? And mission energy is very important, right? So right now I have 63 energy and maxes out at 75 energy when you hit level 60. And you want that mission energy, right? Because with mission energy in the game, you generate 1 energy every 6 minutes, all right? And if you want to get more energy, if you're low, you have to buy a refill. Those are 20 each, which is not much, but you don't want to be buying those all the time. And so increasing your XP will go a long way towards increasing the amount of ore that you can hold. It'll increase your mission energy, and it increases your mastery points, right? So with masteries, you unlock them, I believe, at level 20, and you get up to 43 at commander level 60. And you want as many mastery points as you can get, because once you start using them, you're going to want to be able to unlock masteries and rank them up, right? So using XP boosts is very important in the game early on, because they're cheap and they're effective. They really will help you out. There are other kinds of boosts. You have damage and health boosts as well. Right now, in the new version of the game, there are only the tier 1 damage and health boosts, I believe. Let's see. Is there any other boosts in here? I don't think so. No. So there used to be a few different kinds of boosts. Like you had tier 2 damage boosts and health boosts. Now there's just one of each. The damage boost is 30 Energon. The health boost is 25. You don't want to use these often because they're very short, right? You're just basically just getting some extra damage or some extra health for 15 minutes. But if you're in a really hard mission, in a story or AMs or something, and you just can't get through it, you could pop a boost every now and then. I just would not do it often, though, because it's not a huge amount of benefit. And like I said, there's only one kind of damage and health boost in the new version of the game, okay? Now, when it comes to Energon, by the way, I should also mention the fact that you can buy kits, repair and revive kits. For the most part, I would stay away from them because of the fact that they're very expensive. And when it comes to AMs, which we'll talk about later, we no longer have access to free items that you can grind for. So repair kits, revive kits, you can spend hundreds of Energon on them. You want to do that very sparingly because they're expensive, and you don't want to blow through a day's Energon or several days worth of Energon for a single, 10% revive kit, okay? But they are here if you really need them, right? So you can get revives and repair kits for up to 25%, depending on what you're doing, and you can also buy kits for single bots or for squads, okay? So the squads will be better value, but they are very pricey, okay? And so let's talk a little bit about the calendar in general. Like I said, I went over the Alliance and 7-day calendar. They're pretty much the same. You're getting Energon, you're getting gold, you're getting a couple sparks and ore here and there. Like I said, you just log in once a day. The calendar resets every 24 hours. And then the full calendar resets every week. Very simple. The monthly calendar does change a little bit once you get up to higher tier bots. But, it's basically... it's pretty similar regardless of your level, right? So you're getting, bot chips, you're getting SIGs, you're getting sparks every now and then, right? So it's same thing, just log in once a day, you will get the rewards for the calendar. If you start missing days, then you're not going to get the rewards for that day, but that's all right. If you're playing regularly, you're going to get all of the monthly rewards just fine, and they are important. Now, I should talk about achievements as well. So you have the daily achievements. I talked about the fact that you can get 12 Energon a day from leveling up bots, but you have other achievements as well. Now, as you can see, the rewards are not great. You're just getting a little bit of gold and ore for the most part, a little bit of bot chips. But if you complete the daily objectives, which is very easy to do if you're just playing regularly, you'll get these rewards, okay? Now, when it comes to achievements, now these are one-time deals that you accumulate and unlock over time, okay? So there are achievements for all kinds of things, right? Reaching level 10, 20, 30 through 60. You get achievements for reaching a 2,500 rating and then a 10,000 rating and a 25,000 rating for your squad. Starting missions with squad ratings. Winning mission fights, winning arena fights. Basically, you're just going to do this naturally as you progress through the game. The good news is that some of these rewards are very, very good. The bad news is they are one-time rewards, right? So once you reach, commander level 40, you get the rewards once and then you'll never get them again, okay? But the achievements are different than they used to be, and there's one massive difference now as compared to the old version of the game, which is the fact that they unlock gauntlets, which are super important now. We did have gauntlets in the old version, but they're very different now. Now we amass a total of 5 or 6 gauntlets over time, and they're permanent, meaning that once you get them, they just stay available to you until you complete them, right? So I've gotten 5 of them. I don't have Dinobot yet. That's the last one that most people are going to get. But you're going to want to unlock these gauntlets because you get really, really good rewards for them, okay? So for example, when you reach 2,500 medals and raids, you get the Dinobot gauntlet, etc., etc. So you'll get the Mirage one first in most cases because you get that at level 20, and then you'll unlock the other gauntlets. You will want to do the gauntlets for sure because you'll get lots and lots of bot chips in particular. You also get some sparks, a little bit of Energon, etc. But you'll really want it for bots because bot chips are also an important currency in the game. You get a fair amount of them from AE every week. You get them from story missions. You get them from achievements and all that stuff. But the primary way to amass a lot of bot chips is through the gauntlets, right? So the Windblade Gauntlet and the Dinobot, or the Grimlock Gauntlet, we don't know about Dino yet, that gives over 2 million bot chips. The Ramjet and Jazz Gauntlets give over 400,000. The Mirage one gives about 50,000. But you want bot chips in order to buy bots, right? So in the bot store, which has the majority of the bots in the game right now, not all of them, but most of them, right? A 5-star bot is 1 million bot chips, 4-star is 100,000, 3-star is 10,000, 2-star is 1,000, and 1-star bots are 100, right? So they become significantly more expensive depending on the tier, but you're going to want to be able to buy bots every now and then. Now, once you do your first gauntlets, you'll want to buy some 4-star bots before you have 5-star bots, which is what most people do, right? Most people are going to play with 4 stars for a while first before they get access to 5 stars. Although everyone will have access to 5 stars less than 6 weeks from now, as I'm recording this. But you're going to want to buy some 4-star bots. You're going to want to rank them up. You're going to want to use them not only for gameplay, but you're also going to want them to eventually forge them into 5-star bots. And so you're going to want to do those gauntlets in order to amass up a lot of bot chips, because that is the one and only way you're going to be able to amass millions of bot chips relatively quickly. So pay attention to the achievements, and you will unlock these gauntlets over time. There's also the monthly achievements, which also update once you get up to 4-star and 5-star bots. They change a little bit, but it's also the same principle. The monthly achievements reset every 4 weeks. You get SIGs, you get some bot chips, you can get some Energon, some ore, a few sparks, things like that. And once again, just by grinding every day and playing every day, you will automatically accrue these monthly achievements, okay? So all of this is important to just kind of pay attention to. You don't have to do anything except play, but if you're looking for specific resources, like if you're really close on ranking up a bot or you need a specific resource, check your achievements. See if you're close on something, then do that game mode, and then you'll unlock whatever achievement it is that you want, okay? So the calendars, as well as all of the daily and monthly achievements and the one-time achievements, are all going to give rewards that will help you gradually over time, okay? Now, I have spoken about the fact that SIGs are way easier to get now in the new version of the game compared to the old version. I just want to talk about SIGs for a minute because this is one of the best changes compared to the old version and the new version. In the old version of the game, 4 and especially 5-star SIGs were insanely difficult to come by. It could literally take years to max SIG a 5-star bot. That is not the case anymore. We are now getting SIGs from things like calendars, from monthly achievements, from other kinds of achievements, from commander levels, you get some SIGs. And of course, you're getting SIGs from the SIG Arena, which runs 1 week per month. That is one of the few arenas that is very worth doing. And you're also getting SIGs from the Sunday daily mission, which is bugged. I did do a video on this where you can just repeat it over and over again to get more SIGs. So as long as that glitch is in the game, that is available to you as well. You are going, of course, to want to get a lot of your bots to high SIG level, not only because it makes them more effective and more efficient, but also because it is extremely important when it comes to forging. We'll talk more about forging later, but you will get more forge levels and certainly more higher tier shards by forging away high SIG bots. So this is a great thing about the new version of the game. You can get way more SIGs way more quickly than you used to be able to, right? So just to reiterate, in case you don't know, you can awaken a bot through awakening programs, which you will also amass in this game through achievements, through commander leveling, through different missions. It's really not that hard to get 4 and 5-star awakening programs, okay? You can also awaken a bot that is not duped by simply buying a dupe, but for the most part, you don't want to spend a ton of bot chips just to awaken a bot. Use those awakening programs. And then, of course, every bot has their own signature, right? They go up to 100. And many of these bots, particularly bots that have more offensive SIGs, become significantly stronger at high SIG. And so you're going to want to invest into the bots that you use. A high SIG bot will often be a lot stronger and more powerful than a low SIG bot. Okay, so SIGs are something you're also going to want to amass and feed them carefully, at first anyway, to the bots that you use the most. I also did a video on this related to bots that I recommend that newer players take to high signature level. You can check that out if you like. And so with all that said, that covers what I would like to talk about in part 1, because I've already been talking for quite a while. And so I will leave it there for now, but I really just wanted in this first edition, in part 1 of this video, to cover primarily resources and just the general way that you accrue what you need in the game, right? So we talked about gold and Energon, sparks, ore, raid chips, bot chips, the calendars, the achievements, right? That's how you amass everything you need in the game. And then in part 2, which I will record soon, we'll talk about all the different game modes, maximizing, the rewards you can get from those, increasing your ability as a player, gameplay, performance, all of that stuff. We'll talk about all of that in part 2. So I hope that all of this has been helpful, guys. Do let me know if you have any questions, and we will be in touch again next time. Take care.